Where are you from?
New York.
New York.
I do program management for Lime scooters.
I work for Global Citizen. We're an NGO.
Oh, that's cool. Do you think America is a high tax country?
Yes.
So,
No.
No?
I think for what we get as public services, we pay too much in taxes. So like we don't have the NHS thing that you guys have here, like a lot of benefits for childcare. So I think for the taxes we pay, we get fuck shit for it. We pay too much in taxes to not have any public benefits, basically. And our roads are filled with potholes. So like where the fuck is our tax money going?
In the U.S., you pay a lot less in taxes, but
we have no social services. So
Exactly.
like I would gladly pay more in taxes if it meant college was free, if it meant healthcare was free, and if it meant that like childcare under 2 was free. But right now we have none of that, so I don't understand why I'm paying a dime.
Y'all know the military action towards Iran now. You also pay a lot of tax for that.
Yeah.
Why you don't just like propose or something? Or
I think people are tired. A lot of people feel very disconnected to government, disconnected to not seeing a clear pathway to change and progress.
So like a lot of the rhetoric in the US is like, why the fuck are we spending tax dollars on this shit going on over there when we've got homeless people starving, like families that work jobs that like can't put food on the table. Like biggest reason why people are in debt in the United States is medical debt. I got into a serious injury in Europe a couple years ago and we just stayed here to get my surgeries because we knew that if I went back home, I would be in like $30,000, $40,000 worth of debt. It feels like insane that we're doing anything overseas when we have so many problems at home that we're not fixing with our tax dollars.
okay, that makes sense.
Like the fact that I pay New York City tax and I walk around and there's like fucking homeless people and like people that have serious drug problems that need social services, that need help, that need actual support from the city government that we're paying money to, like pisses me off.
What percentage of your income goes to tax?
God, it's massive.
Because we pay federal tax, state tax, and city tax. So I think it's probably 35 to 40%.
So you mentioned 3 kind of tax. Can you just explain?
You have federal tax, which is across the everywhere in the U.S. pays. Then states, depending on what state you live in, they might then charge income tax as well. In a handful of major cities in the U.S., so New York, they then charge a city tax, which helps supplement things like school, subway, that sort of thing.
But you actually, for example, the subway, you pay for the ticket fee, right?
Yeah.
And plus, you have to pay a city...
Yeah,
right, so what the fuck? Like, I shouldn't have to pay for the subway because I'm paying New York City taxes.
Oh, okay.
That's my problem.
Okay.
Do you feel like your cost of living has increased recent years?
Significantly.
The biggest thing is
Food.
probably grocery.
Little things like heating and cooling, like all these little things are just increasing by enough of a percentage that everything collectively sucks. We're also expected to tip at everything now.
Do you think your wage growth can catch up with your... No.
Unless you're like getting a promotion, here's your bump because you've made it another year. Average is like 2 to 3%, which does not keep up with inflation. So unless you like work your ass off and get like a promotion or score really highly and like you get a nice bonus.
What's the main reason for the increasing cost of living?
Donald Trump.
Yeah, no, I think
massive piece of shit who is Donald Trump, who promised a bunch of dumb people that he would make their life more affordable, and then actually, in fact, did the opposite.
I think it's also just, I think there's a lot of price gouging that happens.
Capitalism.
In the industry,
stupid.
There's no price controls. There's not a lot of anything that it feels very powerless.
And monopolies. So things like Uber killed the taxi market. So now Uber is really expensive. And then things like Amazon and Whole Foods have just like made this massive conglomerate monopoly. And then everything's more expensive.
We're from the UK.
I'm originally Russian, but
Yeah.
I've been here for like 17, 18 years. I'm a finance analyst.
I'm a chartered surveyor.
What percentage of your income goes to tax?
45%.
45?
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, same.
45?
Yeah.
Do you feel UK is a really high tax country?
Yes. Cost of living, yes. Every single element of the economy is taxed incredibly highly. Corporation tax, inheritance tax, capital gains tax, business rates. Any kind of element of the country that makes money is taxed incredibly heavily.
I think the problem is like you pay so much tax but you don't get much in return. I personally don't have a problem with paying 45% as long as you have a good healthcare system, good policing, a good roads, but we don't really get much in return, do we?
No, we pay another tax. We pay council tax, which is a tax on your home, but you don't get anything back.
Do you feel cost of living has increased
In the past 5 years.
in the past 5 years?
Yeah, massively. Since COVID, really.
With Ukrainian war.
Israel,
Iran now.
Middle Eastern war, utilities, they've gone up by about 50% in the past 5 years. Council tax has gone up about 25% in the past 5 years. And you don't get anything back. We get inherently poorer every year. The costs of everything goes up more than wages.
What's the main reason for the prices? Is there any other factor?
Greed.
Okay.
Being brutally honest, greed. The government's constantly telling us they've got no money, but they send billions abroad every single year.
I'm from India. We're into the business.
So you work in
India.
So do you think India is a very high tax country?
Not as much as UK though. In India, tax is about 35% and in UK is 45%. So India is still better than UK, but I would say Dubai is the best for taxation currently. The corporate tax in Dubai is about 9% and the
9%?
and the personal income tax is 0 in Dubai.
Do you know where are these tax goes to?
The tax is used for hospitals, road construction, and the welfare of people.
Do you think it is worthy?
It benefits both the government and people, but in India there's a bit of corruption as well. I don't personally think it goes to the people. It goes to maybe politicians or the government workers.
Run the system.
To run the system.
Are there any other tax or charges that you have to pay during your daily life?
The road tolls. So if we're paying the road tax already, then why are the tolls needed? I don't think there's a need of toll tax if we are already paying the road tax for the car.
Do you feel the cost of living has increased recently?
Yes, it has increased recently. Last 5 years post-COVID, what I've noticed. Small examples, if a lunch was about 20 pounds or 15 pounds per person, now it's gone up to 25 pounds if we want to have full proper lunch.
So how do you feel about it?
Again, everything is controlled by US dollar and inflation of pound. The pound has gone up from Indian rupees. It was about 95 to 100 Indian rupees per pound. Now it has increased up 30% last 1 year.
What is the main reason for the raising price?
The big companies or the top companies are gaining profits and the smaller companies like us are not gaining profit from the government policies. And all the big contracts from the government they get, and the small companies are not promoted as much in India.
Do they have any solution to solve this?
No one's talking about it. India's GDP is growing. India has become a trillion economy. India is now a third number nation in terms of wealth, but they don't see the gap is increasing.
Belgium. I work for rail infrastructure, but I'm not an engineer, I'm in communications.
Yeah, sure. What's the percentage of your wage goes to the tax?
I think almost 50. Belgium is known for its high taxes. This is on labor. So on your paycheck, so after taxes, it's almost half. Well, it depends on how much you earn. If you earn less, then in percentages, you get more. Stuff in return, like healthcare, is very accessible and affordable.
Do you think it's worthy?
Principally, I'm for it, but in practice, it's not always working that well. The idea of asking everyone to chip in money and buying stuff with that for everyone, like healthcare, infrastructure, hospitals, and so on, I think is really good. But I do think that in Belgium it's not always working well because we have a lot of governments within Belgium, so a lot of money goes to running the system.
Do you feel cost of living are increasing recently?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So do you think your wage can cover increasing cost of life?
Our wages are increasing like accordingly with the index. So every year life becomes more expensive, your wage increases too. But I live in Brussels, and Brussels is also becoming really expensive. Groceries, I think it's fine, but in terms of housing, supply and demand, there is like some kind of a frenzy. I don't have the statistics, but it feels like it's becoming disproportionate.
I'm from originally South Africa, and then I lived in Australia, and now I live in Canada. I'm a bartender.
Okay, so where do you work?
In Canada.
Do you think Canada is a high tax country?
Yes. I pay both states or province and federal tax. They're both pretty high rates of like 20% on average.
Each?
Each is like 20% on your income. It's about
40% of your wage?
Yeah, my hourly wage is about $16 an hour, and then after tax it's about 14.
Where your tax are used?
Like road maintenance, arts, culture, that sort of funding. Tourism, hospitality is a big one in Nova Scotia, although they're cutting that at the moment, so it's a bit of a big debate. Federally, it's a lot of funding for like big programs, so national parks, but then you've also got military defense.
Infrastructure thing.
Yeah, infrastructure.
So do you think it works?
I think at the moment, living in Nova Scotia, my provincial tax isn't working too hard. There's a lot of potholes in the roads, public transit is not good. All I'm seeing is a lot of funding going towards subsidising oil and gas companies, which is not something that I personally prioritise as a taxpayer. Federally, I can't say I know where it goes because I'm a new resident to Canada, so I'm still learning all of that sort of stuff.
So do you feel like cost of living are increasing recently?
Yeah. So I'm not making a lot of savings. It's really hard to sort of find ground of like how much am I putting away for emergency funds versus like discretionary spending.
Yeah, sure.
So like if I wanted to buy a new jacket, do I buy it and then you
have to hesitate.
That's it, right?
Yeah. What is the main reason for this kind of like increasing price?
Demand for services. I mean, if you look at a supply and demand index, the intersection's like pushing way up. People can charge a lot more for similar services because there's a higher demand for them, like rents and things. More people living in a city, more demand for an apartment or a house, drives rent costs up, and because wages are super slow to follow. That coupled with international trade, price of gas going up because of the war in Iran, cost of food and things. A lot of food here in England grown in South Africa or Portugal or Spain, and because the UK is not part of the EU anymore and the free trade agreement doesn't really exist.
Where from?
Yeah, from Italy. I work as in AI. I work on microchips.
AI. Okay.
I work here.
Okay, so that's good. So do you think UK is a high tax country?
Yeah. Like by the end of the year, I'll have paid in tax about like 40% of my salary.
40%?
Yeah.
Oh, do you feel like your cost of living has increased notably in the past few years?
I studied here in the UK, then I moved away from a PhD and I came back afterwards. And there was a significant difference in the cost of living pre kind of the like 2018, 2019 compared to now. It used to be a lot cheaper.
So do you think your wages are increasing as well?
Yeah, but I think I'm in a very kind of niche situation. I work for a very small startup, and so I started out kind of making very little because it was a startup of 4 people, and now it's growing a lot, and so salary has increased. But
what kind of factor caused this kind of like rising prices?
Big cost for the UK is the NHS and kind of the rising age of the population. There's nothing really that you can do about that. There is the huge cost of repayment of interest, and that is a matter of we need to get the budget balanced and stop borrowing money because otherwise that only gets worse.
Can I know your nationality? So where are you from?
Poland.
Oh, Poland.
I'm studying. Now I'm waiter.
Also a waiter, and I study economics.
Do you think Poland is a high tax country?
No, I don't think so.
We don't have much money. We don't do a great job, but we are living well, and it's okay. It's not that high. And
what's the percentage of your wages goes to tax?
12.
12? Oh, that's quite good, I think, because that's
if you are a student, you don't pay any tax.
Only like adults which are over 26 years.
Do you think the living cost in Poland is increasing?
Oh yes, 10 years ago it was much cheaper, and I think now the prices are getting higher, but we also getting much more money.